And welcome back to Real Talk Sports with Rico. Today we are talking about week 3 of the NFL season, and I'm just doing some predictions here, essentially just going over some game by game stuff and just what we could expect for today's games. And so, starting with the New York Giants and the Cleveland Browns, I think the Cleveland Browns should win this game against the Giants. Got a chance to look at them last week against the Commanders. I think that the Giants are not a very good football team, especially offensively, but the Cleveland Browns have not been very good as well. And I think the real question mark around the Cleveland Browns is, can Deshaun Watson turn it around? I think that that is going to be critical for the Browns. I think that they should win this game. And if they do win this game, I think that Amari Cooper is going to have a big day. Next up, Eagles and Saints. I like the Saints in this one. I think that Derek Carr has really found it. I think that they are going to continue to get that run game going. And I don't like the fact that the Eagles have not gone out and really addressed the real issue out here, which is in the secondary. All right. And that's the same thing that really hurt them last week. Last week. And it also hurt them in the playoffs as well, is they just could not get stops. And so that really scares me with the Eagles and Saints here in this particular contest. But I like the Saints. I think this is going to be a lot of points put up. I think that this game could be something like a 35-30 type of game, to be honest with you. But I like the Saints in this one. Next up, Texans and the Vikings. And so I think that the Texans are going to hand the Vikings their first loss of the season. I think that you're going to see an elite defense with the Texans. And then also, too, I think the Vikings are now going to see some elite quarterback play with CJ Stroud. I think unlike the 49ers, who came in, they were injured, or they had a lot of injuries. They had a lot of situations going on prior to the start of the season. And I think that that's really kind of what threw them off rhythm going into this game. We'll give a lot of credit to the Vikings. I mean, they still put points on the board, but I think that this defense is really going to make Sam Darnold very uncomfortable. And I think that CJ Stroud is going to be able to take advantage of the Vikings here. And so I think that the Texans are going to win this contest. I think it is going to be probably like a 24 to maybe 17 type of game. So it is going to be a lot closer. And I don't like the fact that, too, that Justin Jefferson is going to be coming in a little limited. Looks like he was in the facility, was practicing, but I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to give the Vikings. Next up, the Broncos and Buccaneers. I expect for Tampa Bay to continue their winning ways against the Broncos. I think the Broncos, in my opinion, they might be one of the worst football teams in the league. They are visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are pretty elite. I think a lot of people have slept on them, and I think that they perhaps could win this division. And Baker Mayfield, man, he's looked great. I want to give kudos to Baker Mayfield because, look, I wanted to see what he could do now that he's got the contract and he has a team that believes in him. He's showing that he believes in them. He believes in himself, and they are looking pretty good out there. I look for the Buccaneers to continue things to keep rolling there. The Packers and the Titans. And so I think that this is going to be a game where the Packers perhaps can get out of this one. Wouldn't surprise me if they took the loss. I don't think that they should rush Jordan Love back into action. I think the Packers can take care of this, especially if they can get Will Levis to continue to turn the football over like he has done in the first 2 weeks. And the Packers should have an advantage as far as getting on the ground. But I don't think that you want to throw Jordan Love back out there to the Titans. They have a pretty good pass rush, even though they have a lot of things that are questionable on this team that they need to fix. That is one thing that they have been able to do, and that's get after quarterbacks. But I still like Green Bay in this one. I think there is a possibility for an upset. I think it's going to be interesting, too, because Malik Willis is coming back as a starting quarterback. Will he be able to beat his former team? All right. And so next up, Bears and Colts. I think that this is going to be a tight football game. And in fact, initially, I want to say that the Bears can get this win. All right. I think they can get a win against the 0-2 Colts. But it's going to come down to, can Caleb Williams continue to get the football down the field? The thing I love about it is you look at what he did Sunday night against the Texans. He's getting the football out a lot sooner. He gained a lot more yardage in the second particular contest. He did turn it over, right? But that was, you're still trying to press, you're trying to win the game. The Bears were right there. And the Colts, really, they haven't opened it up as much as I thought they would. I think that Anthony Richardson still relies a lot on what he can do on the ground. I think at some point for the Colts to really take off, he's going to have to get this wide receiving core together, which is one of the things that I said that the Colts might struggle with. But I like the Bears in this one. I think the Bears can possibly squeak out one on the road. I think that defensively, they're going to maybe push Anthony Richardson into some turnovers. I expect him to win there. Chargers, Steelers. I'm leaning towards the Steelers, even though the Chargers have an elite running game. I don't like what is going on with Justin Herbert. He hasn't looked very good. He has a noticeable limp, and it didn't look good when he went down with the ankle either. And so I think that if they have to put their backup quarterback in, I think it's game over for the Steelers. And I think it's even game over if Justin Herbert is playing there, because the Steelers are elite defensively. And so even if Justin Fields is not playing very well, I think that defense is going to be able to flip the field. And I also think that they're not going to give up some of the gaping holes that the Chargers have been able to create with the run game as well. Dolphins and Seahawks. I like the Seahawks in this one, especially since the Dolphins are coming in with their backup quarterback. And I think the Seahawks really, they're starting to show me a little bit of what they have with Pete Carroll defensively. They like to grind it out with that running game. Geno Smith looks like he's back to his most improved form as well. And DK Metcalf has been taking it to defenses out here. So I like the Seahawks. I love what they're going to present on the offensive end. And I think defensively, they're right back to where they used to be here. I expect them to get this win against the Dolphins. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to go down the field. And I think at some point they're going to have to probably switch the quarterback again, in my opinion. Next up, Raiders, Panthers. I expect the Raiders to take care of business against the Panthers, especially with what's going on with the situation with Bryce Young. I think the Panthers have no idea with what they're doing as a franchise. The Raiders should win this game. Next up, the 49ers and Rams. This is going to be a true toss-up because both teams are coming in depleted offensively. And it sucks that they have George Kittle that went down with the hamstring injury. That's very unfortunate for the 49ers. Brandon Ayuk has not been on the same page with Brock Purdy. That's looked very ugly. Then you have Deebo Samuel, who's out with a calf injury, and calves, they can be very tricky. So that really could be an issue for the 49ers moving forward. So you still don't have Christian McCaffrey. He's out with the Achilles and then also to the calf as well. And I want to say the 49ers should win this game because defensively, they're a good unit. And I think that with the offensive line of the Rams, they're not going to necessarily be able to slow down that pass rush. I think that Matthew Stafford's going to be under pressure. He doesn't have any offensive weapons there. Both his wide receivers are on the IR. I don't like this about the Rams. I think that they are in a tough situation. I think defensively is the real reason why I would pick the 49ers. Next up, Lions and Cardinals. I like the Lions. I think the Lions are going to come back. They're upset about losing to the Bucs. I think that the real key for them is pushing the ball into the end zone when they get to the red zone. I think that they're much better. I think the Cardinals, for them to be in this game, they're going to have to get some stops. And I'm not sure that they're going to be able to get enough stops against this Lions team. I think that this could be a high-scoring affair. And I think it could be something like a 30-27 game. But I like the Lions to come out and get this one. Ravens and Cowboys, man, this might be one of the more interesting games of the week. Look, both teams need wins, okay? The Ravens cannot afford to go 0-3, and the Cowboys, I don't think they can afford to take another loss either. And defensively, I think they maybe got exposed. In fact, I think some people are actually calling that defense soft with the way that they are, saying they're a little undersized at the linebacker position. Really, it seems like once you get past that first initial front, then it's the same thing that happened to them in the playoff series against the Packers. they can be had on the ground. And so that's what the Ravens do best, is running the football, but the Ravens don't pass it very well. And that's an issue. And so uh, I think the Ravens are going to win this game. I do think the Ravens come in and they win this football game, and it's going to be a tough one for the Cowboys. But I think that they can expose the Cowboys on the ground, and I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson can start to get some play action stuff down the field as well. I would expect for Isaiah Likely to have a good Wednesday Flowers. I think that they are going to have a pretty big contest on Sunday. Next up, Chiefs and Falcons to end Sunday Night Football. Look, I like that. I like the Chiefs in this one. I think that they take it to the Falcons. I'm not sure that you're going to get a last-minute charge down the field against the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs are usually in that situation. But I think that Patrick Mahomes is coming off one of his worst passing games that he's ever had. And so I think that he's going to be a lot better against the Falcons. I think that he's going to have to go to the air, especially since Isaiah Pacheco is out with the broken fibula or whatever the case may be. And so they're going to have a running back by committee there. And so I think that, yes, Patrick Mahomes is going to have quite a day against the Falcons. Not sure if the Falcons are going to be able to match that because really, Kirk Cousins has not played exceptionally well in the passing game, and they would need to do something other than going to Drake London and Bijan Robinson, in my opinion, to really open this thing up. And so they still haven't had Kyle Pitts have a very good game, even though it's suspected he's going to have one against the Chiefs here, especially since Cincinnati was able to utilize their tight ends. But I'm not sure that Kyle Pitts is going to get going against the Chiefs, and I don't think that they're going to make enough plays in the passing game, the Falcons, to win this game. I think the Chiefs win this. Next up, Monday Night Football, the Jaguars and Bills. I actually like the Bills in this one. The Jaguars have looked very suspect, and I think that the Bills have surprisingly looked a lot better. And I think that Josh Allen continues to be Josh Allen and do Josh Allen type of things. And I think at some point, this receiving game is going to catch up. I know that they have lost a lot of players out here, but I think the Bills really can get it done. And I think that the Jags actually are going to help the Bills defense by turning the football over. I like the Bills to win this game, possibly like a 24 to maybe 14 type of game. I don't think that the Jags are going to put up points like that. Next up, Commanders and Bengals. It's tough. As a Commanders fan, I want to say the Commanders are going to pull off the upset, but I think that the Bengals coming in at 0-3, I believe they're at home in this one. I'd have to say that the Bengals are going to come out with a real sense of urgency here. I think that this game is more like a 24-20 game. All right. And I think that's either way. If the Commanders were to pull off the upset, it would be 24-20. I think if the Bengals win this game, it's going to be a 24-20 type of game because they just haven't shown that they can run the football. I think that letting Joe Mixon go was not the best decision for them. And then if the Commanders are able to get pressure, which they've only gotten one sack a game, which you got to get more than one sack a game against Joe Burrow if you're going to frustrate that passing game. And the secondary has been atrocious for the Commanders. So that suggests to me that Jamar Chase should have quite a day. But again, they haven't really looked good in the first 2 weeks. And so, look, I could see the Commanders pulling off a major upset, and it wouldn't shock me if the Bengals were to win this as well. And so let me know in the comments what you think about these predictions as you enjoy Sunday football here. So let me know. Make sure that you follow the show on YouTube. You can also check me out on Spotify as well, where you can see the uploads for the podcast there. We'll be talking more NFL action. This is Rico. This is Real Talk Sports. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.